and welcome back to the Artisan Collective. I am Tomby92 and we are back in our city, having built another extension on to the beginnings of our high street. Now, last episode I realised, well, I didn't really talk much about our plans. I have to admit, everything felt rushed. I told you I had my big injury and, well, I was kind of rushing to get some content made and getting these builds up for you all and getting that episode out. Now, the reason we are in this area in particular is because it's relatively flat and we are planning a massive city, bigger than I've tried before in any series yet. I have a massive centerpiece already designed. We need to clear out all of this forestation. Already made a little bit of progress between episodes, but there is much more on the way, and we've continued out on this road. We need to cover up the trading hall. That is today's plan. We need to cover up the trading hall, which is still giving me some great progress, all the resources that we need for the future of the series. And, well, I keep getting these random zombifications, so I think I need to figure out what's happening there, but hopefully if we cover it up, that might help us. Now, the one thing that we do need, that the villagers can't really help us out with, is more redstones. Obviously, the clerics can give us some redstone, and that's all well and good, but I don't really want to go using my emeralds on them, because we've got glass, we've got our stone cutters. So I'm thinking witch farm, and I have found one just in the right spot, so let's go and throw it up. So with that now up in place, and it's been running for a little bit of time, let's go see some of our goodies. Now, the witch farm here is going to be super valuable for us this season, because not only will it give us redstone, a supply of redstone for the season, but it will also supply us gunpowder. Now, you might have seen in my offhand, I have some rockets, and on my body, I have an elytra. That's because there is one madman on the server who has already been to the end, despite us not having beat the Ender Dragon, and supplied the server with elytras and shells. So I know Flashback won't really tell you what's going on in here. So we've got half a stack of gunpowder and about 6 redstone stacks. So perfect, exactly what I want. And these are just going to keep piling up and dying in there. Now, the other thing we wanted to get going, and it's the other advantage of being in a swamp, is we could put a bit of a passive slime farm going here. So we can clear out another bit of land, get a slime farm going. It might affect the rates of both of the farms, but we'll see how we get on. So I think it's time we just get that up and running, add some sorting systems into the witch farm. So we have done some more AFKing, and we've also got this slime farm up in place, which is giving me more than enough for some personal use. Now, truth be told, the results on this witch farm weren't great. The redstone is absolutely fantastic. Let's not take anything away from that. We've added in our sorting system through here. We're sorting our redstone, gunpowder, glowstone dust, spider eye sticks, glass bottles, and something else that I can't remember. Sugar. I'm not using that to replace a swear word, but sugar does come from witches too. Now, the redstone is certainly filling up. The gunpowder less so. I have to admit, I thought I was going to be getting more gunpowder than I have so far. So I think what I probably need to do is consider some sort of trade deal, maybe with someone who's got gunpowder. And now, luckily for me, let's head to the shopping district, which actually I can fly to if I remember my directions. This here is the beginnings of the shopping district. There's already one little shop down here, which is very nice little ruins. It kind of just blends in, and maybe a bit too easily that it blends in, but I think this is Kiwi's moss shop. Really nice. I like that. I like that use of the spruce trapdoors as support. Hey, that's cool. Yeah, really nice. Moss and moss carpets and pale moss. I'm actually all good on moss, but I have also put myself up a shop over here in next to where the portal currently is. Just a little pop-up store here, selling some golden carrots. We have made a few sales, which is encouraging. 4 diamonds a stack. We've managed to sell 3 stacks so far, but the one that we're interested in is this one over here with gunpowder, which is being sold by Kaz. Now I think we could probably strike up a deal with Kaz for some gunpowder negotiations. Let's see what we can do. Now, in the background, I visited Harte's shop, and well, I left him a little ask to get us a beacon, and I believe over here in this chest is said beacon. He wants paying 10 diamonds. 10 diamonds? There is no way that is all he's after for a beacon. He's going to have to kill the wither skellies, he's killed the wither, and got me a beacon. I need to sort that out. I need to find where Harte is, and we can pay him suitably. I think we have managed to find Harte's setup. I'm going by the armor here. I'm pretty sure this is where Harte is based for now. Here's the thing. Diamonds, I don't think, are enough for what was provided. So I'm going to build a little bit of a structure here, which I think gives Harte what they deserve for beating the wither for me. So a base of iron and redstone. Excuse me, LA. That's very frustrating. You're in my way. Let's continue. We've got redstone, and then we have some slime. These are all valuable things that will come as an added bonus to Harte because, well, honestly, 10 diamonds I don't think warrants the pain that must have been endured to defeat the wither. I know I wouldn't have been interested in doing it like that. So 2 diamonds, and then Harte, 10 diamonds is too cheap. So here, Tomby 92. There we go. I think that should settle our bill quite comfortably. And while the 2 farms, the witch farm and a slime farm, already come in handy. Hello, LA. Something I can help you with? All right. I think it's been long enough now without a build. We should enter a time lapse. Well, with that time lapse, hello, Wandering Trader, have you got anything interesting? Sea pickles, maybe we'll come back to you. But we are now complete with our first build on this side of the road. Gone and added in a few extra details after the time lapse, including the addition here of paintings. Now, behind there, we've got the pale oak trapdoors, and you can see there is a bit of a gap, but I don't really mind it. It kind of looks like a bit of an advertising board, or if anything, this makes it look like a kind of a digital screen up there, which I like. I like that. So we've played around with andesite and tuff leading into this build. We've also, I really like the fans coming across here, the coral fans. So just, I know, it's a small little detail because they don't take up the full block like, say, a fence gate or posts or bars, glass panes, anything like that. It just sits there nicely across the middle Just adds a little bit of a color change. Down here, I've tried to utilize some glass panes just to add a bit of color. You know, we've just got like a line of green. It's almost like adding in a glass pane into a glass pane here, just playing with the depth. So the glass panes sit on top of the walls that are here, with the spruce back there, with the darker color of the pane back there. I think it's just a nice little way of visualizing it. We could do it with, say, copper bars or iron bars, but we've already leveraged the iron bars over here. So that is, yeah, all wrapped up. Now, Harte left us the beacon, and well, let me tell you, it is been well under use over here. I figured we've been clearing out some more of the forest over here, some floating trees, but we have been doing a lot of preparation for future builds. If we go down here, we've cleared out this whole section, and all of this will start being used. So this is just a stone farm, but all of these blocks will be being used for our big centerpiece. Now this one, if you've been living under a rock, has been around for a long time. Just leverages pistons to push you along, so you kind of just get yourself in there, and then just hold down on your mouse, or if you've got an auto clicker, then great. Hoppers will go and pick that up, lock it as you go, and then my storage for it all is down here. So we've managed to get about 20 shulker boxes full of stone so far. And shall we show you what we've been doing with that? We've been laid out this massive square of land that we started to play around with. We've started to add a bit of depth with the roads. So if we're going to come down here, as we said, this is kind of be the high street. We need to go to sleep. So we said this would be the high street. So you can see here, I've just tried to lay out some of the roads. And then here is going to be like Main Street. I guess whilst I want to keep it kind of UK inspired, I will be taking influences from America and Europe and just combining into my city. You know, some of these architectures, like the roofs, there's a bit of kind of an American theme. There'll be others that will be a bit more kind of European, a bit more ornate perhaps, maybe like the Czechia areas and things like that. But down here is the beginnings of our tram system. So across our main street, we are going to have a tram system that will go out to different areas. Now, just to set the context, we are, 3 chunks worth of stone, I think. Sorry, not 3 chunks. 3 map areas. So a map area is what, 4 chunks? I can't even remember now. Huge area of stone anyway has been laid here, and that'll be because our big centerpiece will go in the middle of this. So what I was just trying to do was try and map the road system that will be around it. I think I said in the last episode, but if I didn't already, my builds are planned in creative and they're kind of built up in creative to come over, but actually how they all piece together is winged. There is absolutely no planning or coordination. I didn't even really think of doing this high street in the first episode. I was just like, I need a wool farm. I had my kind of starting base back there, and we just kind of pulled it all together. Now we've got some shulkers ready here. I think it's time to enter another time lapse and try and wrap up this area. Okay, and with that big time lapse and a little bit of extra time, we are now complete. So let's run through these builds. Now, the one thing that we're really trying to do is use resources that are pretty easy to pull together. And we're also trying to shape the road to look in unison. So we've got similar kind of designs at the bottom here, which also take influence from over here, using the chains as kind of the dividers in the glass here. So we've got the stairs, just playing around with different patterns and different colors really. But up here we're using orange terracotta, bit of red sandstone walls in here, and then just a kind of a bit of a brown glass panes here, just to add a different tone. Again, it helps kind of coming from the sides, but it helps then blend into the spruce part up there. The one thing then with this road over here, we've got this like a kind of an air conditioner unit. I was saying earlier, this is kind of the American influence. This doesn't really happen in the UK, or maybe it does in some areas of Europe, but they kind of stretch from over on this side. Over here we've used mangrove and pale oak, and then just trying to make some form of signage. It doesn't really have to mean anything, but the oak wood, the fence posts and the fence gates there, and this lot here, just adds a bit of layering, adds a bit of depth into it. Then the next one along, it's kind of, I don't know, I tried to play around with a bit of a frontage. This could be like an ATM or a cash machine. I'll probably do a better design, but just wanted to incorporate something into the wall that could be used there. And then using the pale moss and the gravel in here. Then the final unit, I really like this kind of color combo, the brown mushroom and the mud into oak up here. Just, it's quite a nice, it's not too harsh, it's not too vivid, and they just kind of blend in together. The middle part here is actually really expensive because you've got some blast furnaces in there and a line of hoppers, so that actually ends up being really, really expensive. But nice little addition, a breakup of that because they are so close together. Then out here, I've tried to make it like an outdoor cafe area. I'm regarding it as like an ice cream shop. So if we come over here, we've got the counter, we've got the ice cream machines back there with the levers on the observers, and then just kind of using sea pickles and then pots to be like a different size cone or a different size bowl that you might get from the ice cream shop. But then, yeah, just those small details, right? It's the small things you can do with vanilla blocks that help tell a story. And speaking of which, the one that I really like, I saw this on Instagram. I really like this. It's just chairs I find really difficult, right? But this is so simple because you get to play with the idea that a chair's out, but also the chair's tucked under the table. So using scaffolding as the seat and using the bamboo textures, just make a little bit of a round table. Then in the middle, we've tried to make a parasol, but we're going to say that the sun doesn't need it out, so we've kind of got it folded in, iron bar, end rod, pale oak, carpet, and then just 4 banners. Could have played around with some colours, but I thought given we've got yellow on the brown and the oak texture here, probably wasn't worth adding in a different colour on the banners, so we kept that plain. Then out here we've started adding in some greenery. Really simple right now because I actually need to alter some of them a little bit to play around with where the sun might be coming. It's currently above our heads and it goes across our plane here. So what I wanted to try and do was imply that the front of these trees will get lighter. And we can do that pretty simply by playing around with oak leaves, which are on there, and the azalea leaves, which are just a slightly lighter hue. So all I'm going to be doing is trying, I thought that might happen, but I should have left that one there, but just trying to play around with here at the bottom, some lightness in the tree. Should it be at the bottom, or do you reckon it should be at the top? If the sun's at the top, it should probably actually be getting the top of the tree, shouldn't it? Now, these trees I've actually always built, and I remember quite some time ago, it was a tutorial by Fwip, and they're really so simple, but they're pretty effective in what they do. There's not a lot to them. They kind of shape off in like a T shape with the posts in here, and then the kind of instruction was just put a leaf on top and a leaf to either side, and you just break it up doing it like that. And they're so simple. They are so simple. And I've always just stuck with them and maybe just changed kind of the posts or the textures of leaves, but in general, they are pretty much my staple kind of city tree. Again, just playing around with the hue in here. Of course, I had to fall down. I have to admit they do work better because of bushy leaves. If I didn't have bushy leaves, I think they wouldn't probably look as effective. If we turned off that resource pack, they'd look a bit bare. You might have seen down here, we've added in a bit of lighting underneath, just playing around again with different textures. We've got some grass and the bushes, and then a birch, I think it's birch or spruce in there, just to help break up the color tones of the greens. Greens are obviously very important for our trees, just really subtle. It doesn't need much. I like that one. I like how that one's just come together. That addition there was spot on. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now the other thing that I've actually been struggling with has been my lamppost designs. I don't know if we can make it out here, but we've actually got every single one is different, and I've really been struggling as I put more up to have it not take over the road and not take away from the builds. So you see this one at the end here was our original one, and it's quite big, it's quite long. And when we started getting them on both sides, it just took up too much. It took away too much. And I asked some of the artisans for some help. Solar even came along, and we played around with a few different designs at the bottom of the road. And I think in doing so, we've come to a conclusion that this one on the corner is probably going to be the one that we go for. It helps keep the angle. It helps kind of keep it coming up at an upward angle and pointing out without taking too much of the depth. At the end there, I think it's what, 5 blocks into the middle of the road, into the road from the side. This takes away 2 of that. Keeps the angle. We took away the stair, which gives that sharp angle and elevates it really quick. And this one, using the slab, we just managed to kind of keep it in sync. We get an angle, but we don't take up too much of the road. So we need to swap all of those out. Truth be told, I think that's probably it for today's episode, right? We have done a lot. So I thank you for sticking by to the end. If you've made it this far, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you next time.